Hey, what's up guys, TotallyDubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review on the iiyama G3266HS. Now this is a pretty big 32-inch Full HD VA 144Hz gaming monitor. I know that's quite a mouthful to say. And the monitor can be found for around £378 on Amazon.co.uk. Couldn't find it in the US, but if I get any links I'll be sure to pop them down in the description below, so check that out. Now, I recently actually reviewed an AOC 27-inch monitor, and I did compare it to other monitors such as a Samsung, an Asus and MSI monitors, which all pretty much fit the same sort of specs. Now this monitor is slightly bigger given its 32-inch size, so I was very much intrigued to see how it would compare. Now in terms of the specs, you get a 31.5-inch or 32-inch monitor. It has a 1800R curvature, so yes, it is curved. It's got Full HD, so 1080p at 144Hz. It's got a 16:9 aspect ratio, so it's not an ultra wide. It's got a quoted response time of 3 milliseconds, and it's running a VA panel. In terms of the inputs, it's got VGA, DVI, HDMI and a DisplayPort. I would highly suggest using a DisplayPort or HDMI if you want sound and vision as well at 144Hz. I should also mention it's got AMD FreeSync, and the FreeSync support, at least quoted on the website, is 48Hz to 144Hz. Unfortunately, I couldn't test this because I've got a NVIDIA GTX 1080, so I can't test its FreeSync capabilities. But just bear in mind that if you've got a AMD FreeSync capable graphics card, then you can use it. It's also got VESA mounting at the back, which is 100x100, so you can mount it to your own stand if you so wish. Which brings me perfectly to its build quality. Now the monitor is massive, as you can probably tell. It does take out a lot of space on my desk. If I just go back a bit, you'll be able to tell it does take a lot of space, so that I have to even put it on my IKEA Freddy desk on the second level because it just doesn't fit in the middle level, at least without taking the monitor stand, as in a monitor riser. Now the monitor itself can't be pivoted or rotated anyway. However, it does have a slight tilt adjustment. The tilt adjustment is minor, but it's still present, which is great to have. In terms of the borders, it's got a very slim bezel all the way around the monitor. It's not a three-sided borderless design, but it's absolutely as close as you're going to get to that, and it actually looks nice. The matte black finish comes out good. The monitor has a matte finish, so you're not going to have to worry about sort of reflections in bright sunlit conditions. At the back right of the monitor, you've got a slight joystick, and the joystick allows you to go into OSD. Now the OSD is really easy to use and actually very responsive. I know it's a small thing to note, but it's just something I just thought to mention nevertheless. Within the OSD, you can customize all the options such as the contrast, brightness, the eye color style. Color, I've put it on standard, overdrive to +2, which I'll get into in just a bit. You can change the aspect ratio, the color temperature, so I've got it on user. As you can see, 49 on red, green on 47, blue on 42. There's also sRGB, the sRGB profile of here as well, which I use for testing the color temperature and the color accuracy and the color gamut. So speaking of which, I'll get into that in just a bit, but in terms of the build quality, I would like to say that the build quality of the monitor is nice. However, just do bear in mind the overall size of the monitor, and especially its stand. It's absolutely massive. Now, yes, you can replace the stand if you so wish with the 100x100 VESA stand if you so wish, but nevertheless, it is a big monitor, so just bear that in mind before going ahead and purchasing it. Now, in terms of the panel quality, the panel quality is actually relatively good. It's got a VA panel, so therefore you're going to expect good contrast ratio and relatively good color accuracy. In my test, in terms of my just a user test that I had, so in other words, just flicking through certain images and looking how it would fare, I felt that the contrast ratio is, as you'd expect, very good, and it has a nice contrast between the blacks and whites, the different colors, and it just pops very well. In terms of the overall color tone, there is a little bit of a washed out sort of film, almost like something I found on the AOC monitor, just slightly washed out ever so slightly, therefore not being as accurate as an IPS or a class-leading IPS or class-leading VA panel such as on the Samsung that I previously mentioned. It does look slightly washed out, which is a shame because the monitor would be a lot better for video editors and color editors. Speaking of which, I did put it through a calibrator to see how it would perform. I got around 300 Kelvin for the total brightness, which is perfectly decent if you're going to be in a bright sunlit room or a dark room. I would have liked it to be a little bit brighter if possible, like 350 to 400, that would be even better, but it's okay given the size of the monitor. I think it'll be bright enough for most people. In terms of its black luminance, incredible, 0.06, which is ridiculously low. In other words, lower is better for the black luminance, and that's also comes into play with the contrast ratio, which hits a massive 4,600 to 1 contrast ratio, which is absolutely insane, one of the highest I've seen on a consumer grade monitor. Now, calibrated using the sRGB profile and compared to the sRGB color profile, it didn't do particularly well. It got an average delta E of 1.88 and a maximum delta E of 5.41, notably being a little bit off on the reds. Now, it's not to be overly critical about it. In all honesty, it's decent given the fact that we're talking about a gaming monitor, not a pro grade monitor. And the results mean that you could you casually video edit or photo edit to a good level of accuracy in terms of colors. Of course, if you're casually video editing or photo editing like myself, it's not selling it on, selling your licenses or your photos or your videos onto someone else, then I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine with it. It's just bear in mind, I'm just lobbing some numbers to you guys in case you're really interested in the color accuracy. Now, in terms of the overall brightness uniformity, it does a decent job. Again, for a consumer grade monitor, actually really good. Its worst was, I think, the bottom left hand side. Near the middle was a minus 13.46 variance. Again, nothing to be overly critical about because it's a gaming consumer grade monitor, so it's to be expected that you're not going to get a perfect brightness uniformity across the panel, especially given it's a curved, rather large size monitor. So overall, in terms of the colors and how it does for gaming, for your average watching of a movie or whatnot, it's absolutely fine. Actually, very impressive. I would have just liked it to be a little less washed out, and I would have liked, in terms of the be a little less washed out, and just overall in terms of the brightness, I would have liked it to be just a little bit higher. But overall, as I said, colors are good. I wouldn't complain too much about it. Now finally, and most importantly, is its gaming performance. How does it do in terms of gaming? So I put on some Counter-Strike, as I usually do, in terms of competitive gaming, or at least people who are interested in competitive gaming, and I found that the monitor actually responds very, very well. Now the overdrive I set to +2, and I would highly suggest doing that even if you're going to be gaming casually, simply because the response time of the monitor is a lot better whilst you're playing with overdrive on +2. If you put it to +1 or 0 or turn it off, I found that the response time of the monitor is a little bit sluggish, which will be fine for casual gamers or really casual gamers, or those who are playing like games like Hearthstone or whatnot. They won't really care about that. But people who are looking to play first-person shooter games, you'll want to set the overdrive to +2, at least +1. Now there is a slight overshoot ghosting, but it's extremely minimal in games like Counter-Strike. You will notice a little bit in games like Overwatch, and there you maybe want to dial it down to +1 instead of +2. But overall, the inverse ghosting is pretty minimal, and for a monitor of its size and type, I'm pretty impressed. In terms of the input lag, there's a slight, not delay, but it is not as fast as some of the other monitors I've come across, such as the competitive gaming monitors out there. But overall, it's still perfectly suitable for competitive play. So yes, it's not the fastest, most responsive, lowest input lag monitor that you can think of. However, given its size and purpose, it's one of the best in its classes. So yes, I would use it for competitive gaming or casual gaming. So overall, what do I think of the monitor? In all honesty, I'm quite impressed. 32 inches and all the specs that I mentioned as well, and all the features. It's actually quite impressive that it has all of that for around £370. Now you might be wondering, why would you pay £370 when you can buy the Samsung, which is a lot better in terms of color accuracy and in terms of its design as well, or the other monitors that I previously mentioned? Well, in all honesty, it's for those people who want that little extra monitor. All the monitors I mentioned before are 27 inches, and the only 32 or 30 plus inch monitors that come against it, I wouldn't suggest, or are very expensive. And this makes the iiyama sit in a really unique position in the market. It has the same sort of price tag as a 27-inch monitor, but offers a 32-inch monitor, and it can be used for competitive gaming. So if you're a competitive gamer or someone who wants a 32-inch gaming monitor that's really competent, then this is it. If, however, 27-inch will be fine for you, then I'd highly suggest the Samsung monitor instead, because not only is it a little cheaper at £350, but it will offer you a lot better color accuracy. So there we go, guys. I've been Totally Dubbed. Hopefully you've enjoyed this review. Make sure you post in the comments below in case you've got any suggestions or any questions, and like and favorite this video and subscribe, as it always helps the channel grow. Alright guys, I've been Totally Dubbed. Take care and bye bye.